Ever feel like you're screaming into the void at work, online, or live? The difference between people who get noticed and those who don't is not talent, it's this. And once you see it, you'll never be invisible again. Imagine a lighthouse. It's being cutting sharply through the darkness, guiding the ships exactly where they need to go. Now, picture that same lighthouse trying to light up everything, the ocean, the shore, the sky. Instead of a powerful beacon, its lights will blur, weaken, and lose its impact. And that's you right now. Talented, capable, but stretched too thin. You're trying to do it all, be it all, because you can. But in doing so, your light, the very thing that makes you stand out, is fading into the background. Here's the truth. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be where it matters most. Because when you focus on your true superpower, the one or two strengths that set you apart, everything shifts. Your brand aligns, your confidence grows. Success doesn't feel like an uphill battle. It feels like momentum. So today, let's strip away the noise and find the beam that lies what's yours. Because when you stop trying to shine everywhere and start owning your superpower, you just don't move forward. You become the light people are drawn to. So how do you find that one thing, your being of light, that sets you apart? How do you identify the strengths that makes you irreplaceable instead of just blending into the background? The answer is not complicated. Your superpower has been there all along. You just need to recognize it. Have you ever noticed that people keep coming to you for the same type of help? Maybe they always ask you to organize events or troubleshoot problems or give you advice when they're feeling stuck. These patterns are not random. They're clues to your superpower. Think about it. When someone needs help, what do they come to you for? Not someone else, or not Google, or not AI. You. These patterns are not random. They are signs. I'll give you an example. Back when I was in the corporate world, I kept moving from one team to the other. But every single team had one thing in common. They were the worst performing teams, the most disengaged, the most problematic, the ones with the lowest level of productivity. And at first I thought, why are they punishing me? They keep punishing me. And then it hit me because I had a track record of turning struggling teams around. I was not placed them randomly. I was placed there because of my ability of transforming organizations. So ask yourself, what do people assume that you're good at? What do they come to you for over and over again? And that will be your first clue. Here's a second clue. What roles do you take on easily? Sometimes we think we don't know our superpower because we're looking for like a job title or like a fancy skill. But remember, your superpower is not what you do. It's the role that you naturally step into, even when you don't realize it. Maybe you are the one that people rely on when things go sideways. Maybe you always end up leading even when you didn't plan to. Maybe you're the glue that is holding everything together. So here's an exercise. Look backwards. Look at the last few projects that you worked on, whether if it was at work or at school or even just helping a friend out. What kind of role did you take on? Did you end up leading, solving, creating, facilitating? Most importantly, was it something you did effortlessly? Because yes, that's a superpower. When something comes so naturally to you, you don't even realize it. You don't realize you're doing it. And that's a huge sign. All right. So if you're still not sure what your superpower is, let's flip the script. Instead of trying to figure it out on your own, let's ask people around who already see it. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Ask the people that know you well. Friends, family, coworkers, supervisors, mentors, you name it. But ask them these two questions. What are my superpowers? When you think of me, what are the three things that come to mind? And here's a mistake that most people make. Don't just ask one or two people, ask a bunch, because you want to see a trend. Because when you collect all of those answers, you're going to notice something, patterns. At first, some of these responses might feel a little bit underwhelming. Maybe you hear things like, oh, you're a really good listener. Or you always make feel people comfortable. You care a lot. And you might think, well, doesn't everybody? I thought the same thing when I did this exercise. The number one thing people kept saying about me, you care. And at first I brushed it off because I thought, well, duh, everybody cares. But then I thought about it and I dug deeper. Because it wasn't that I care, it's how I care. It was the way I showed up, the way I made people feel seen, heard, empowered, valued. And that's when I realized that was my superpower. I wasn't just a leader. I was an authentic, inclusive, caring leader. And that's what set me apart. So here's what I want you to do. Make a list of 5 to 10 people who know you really well, different areas of your life if possible. Number 2, ask them those 2 questions. Number 3, write down everything they say. And then number 4, be like Inspector Gadget, look for patterns. What words keep coming up? What skills or quality do people are constantly repeating? Your superpower might not be a hard skill like coding or public speaking. It might be the way you do things. Maybe you're the one that brings clarity in chaos. Maybe you're the person that everybody trusts with their secrets. Maybe you have a way of inspiring people to take action. Whatever it is, it's already there. You just have to see it. Try this exercise. I promise it's going to surprise you. All right, we already talked about looking at what people naturally ask you for. We talked about asking others directly. But here's another way that you can find your superpower. One that's a little bit more analytical. Sometimes the best way to uncover your strength is to see where your perception doesn't really match reality. I'll tell you what I mean. Here's how you do it. Make a list of the key skills, quality, or strengths. Think about things like leadership or creativity, problem solving, communication, strategy, whatever feels relevant to you. And then number 2, rate yourself on each of those skills. But be honest, okay? Where do you think you stand? And number 3, ask others to rate you on those same skills. Colleagues, friends, mentors, supervisors, people that you work with at different capacities. Now here's where it gets interesting. Look for alignment where your rating and their rating match. But more importantly, look for misalignment because that, my friend, is a clue. Let me give you an example. When I did this, I rated myself low on strategy. I figured, you know what? I've never formally studied strategy, so I'm probably not great at it. But when I look at how others rank me, every single person rated me high on strategy. At first, I was confused, but then I realized, just because I had not studied strategy didn't mean that I wasn't naturally good at it. And that's when it hit me. If I was already excelling in strategy without even trying, imagine what will happen if I actually focus on it. That's the beauty of this exercise. Sometimes we don't recognize our own strengths because they come so easily to us. But when you see the patterns, you start to realize this is something special. So here's what I want you to do. Number 1, make a list of 5 to 10 skills or qualities that matter in your field or personal growth. Number 2, rate yourself on each one. Number 3, ask others to rate you on the same skills. Number 4, compare results. Look for the biggest gaps, especially where others are rating you higher than you rate yourself. That misalignment, that's a clue. That could be a natural superpower that you've been overlooking. And once you find it, lean on it, amplify it, grow it. Because the skills you already have a natural talent for, those are the ones that will open the biggest doors in your future. All right, we covered looking at what others ask you for, asking people directly, and even using a self-assessment to uncover hidden strengths. Now, let's talk about something as powerful, maybe even more powerful. This one requires a little more stillness, a little more introspection, but trust me, it's worth it. Start by asking yourself, when do I feel the most in flow? What activities make time disappear for me? What do I love doing even if nobody's watching? Because sometimes the thing that makes you different, the thing that you've been hiding because it's not normal or professional, is actually your greatest strength. Let me give you an example. For a long time, I felt like my energy, my bubbliness was something I needed to tone down. In the corporate world, I thought that maybe I should be more serious, smile less, maybe I should act like everybody else. But here's what I realized. That energy, that passion, that authenticity, that big presence, that's my superpower. And it comes from my Puerto Rican heritage. It comes from years as a professional dancer and entertainer, in addition of being a chemical engineer. It's part of who I am. And the moment I decided to own it instead of hiding it, everything changed. I even had a colleague that told me once, hey, I always check if you're on the invite list for a meeting because if you're there, I know that I'm going to enjoy the meeting and I won't even need coffee to stay awake. That's when it hit me. My energy was not something to suppress. It was something to lead with. This is not just about finding a skill. It's about finding a deeper why, a meaningful reason to own your uniqueness. So ask yourself, why do I want to succeed? Who will I impact? Who will I inspire? For me, it's about the next generation. It's about my kids. Every step I take is not just for me. It's showing them what's possible. So number 1, spend time reflecting. Journal, meditate, go for a walk, whatever you think. Number 2, write down what makes you unique. Remember, not just your skills, your personality, your background, your quirks. Number 3, find patterns. What's something that you're being downplaying that actually makes you powerful? And number 4, own it. Create a position statement, a simple way to describe what makes you valuable. And number 5, be intentional in how you communicate your value, whether it's through conversations, networking, or even on social media. Because once you embrace your uniqueness, you're stop blending in. And the people who need what you bring to the table, they will see you. All right, so we have talked about identifying your superpowers. Now, let's talk about how to package them. How to make sure that people actually see and remember what you bring to the table, how you can help others. Because here's the thing, if you don't own your narrative, guess what? Somebody else will. And I learned this the hard way. For a long time, I was not intentional about how I introduced myself. I thought, well, my work speaks for itself, right? People will just get it. Until one day, I overheard someone introducing me as, oh, that's Jenny. She's a dancer from Miami. And I thought, what? First of all, I don't even live in Miami. And well, perhaps I was a professional dancer years ago. That was just one part of my journey, not the full picture of who I am today. That's when I realized if I don't define my value, people will make up their own version of me. So what's a position statement and why do you need it? Your position statement is the simplest, clearest way to communicate who you help, what you help them with, and how you help them. That's your superpower. It's not a long explanation, it's 3 words. Who, what, how. For example, when I was in the corporate world, my position statement was, I help transforming organizations by building cultures that win. Now, as my career evolved, I changed my position statement to, I help people discover their superpowers and share them with the world using my energy and unique diverse experience. See how clear it is? It's simple, it's memorable, and it makes it obvious on how I can help you. Less is more, less is more, less is more. When it comes to your position statement, less is always more. The more words you add, the less memorable you're going to become. So think about it. If somebody you meet at a networking event, for example, and they ramble for about 5 minutes about what they do, are you going to really remember them? Probably not. But if they say something short and powerful, that sticks. So number 1, start with the who you help. Is it organizations? Is it teams, employees, individuals, women in leadership, Latinos, entrepreneurs? Number 2, define what you help them with. Is it business growth or leadership, creativity, mindset, productivity, you name it. And number 3, clarify how you do it. What's your unique superpower? Are you strategic? Are you a connector? Do you bring energy? Is how you create systems? All right, so I'm going to share some examples on how to help you craft yours. It could be, I help teams boost performance by building a culture of accountability. Or I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses with clarity and confidence. Perhaps it's, I help people land dream jobs by mastering their personal brand. See, it's easy. Don't overcomplicate it. Less is more. This process is not about getting it perfect right away. It's about testing it out. Try saying it in conversations, add it to your LinkedIn, use it in networking events, and see how people react. And please don't get stuck in paralysis by analysis. Start with something, and then you're going to tweak it and redefine as you go. When you own your brand, guess what? You gain confidence. You speak up for yourself. You become intentional about where you bring your value. I once worked with a client who used to be described as a hard worker. And at first, she thought that was a compliment until she realized, wait a minute, that's not my superpower. That's not the value I actually bring. I'm a visionary. That was her real strength, vision. And guess what? She's working it, and people are starting to see the values that she actually brings to the table. Your superpower is yours. Own it, articulate it, be intentional about how you share it. Because the truth is, if you don't make it clear, you risk becoming the best kept secret in the world. And the world needs to see what you bring. If you're ready to dive deeper and discover your own superpowers, I created a free resource to help guide you through the process step by step. You can download it. Don't wait. Own your superpowers, align your brand, and let the world see the value that only you can bring. Thanks for watching. If this helped you get closer to discovering your superpower, give it a like, subscribe, and share with somebody who needs to hear this.